Hello, people of the world watching new vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, the 2026 Chevrolet Silverado LT EV Max Range. It's a mouthful. Today, I'm gonna get this thing up in the air. We're gonna nerd out the tech specs, see how it's constructed, hopefully not get squished in the process, and then go give it the e-beams. First things first. Tow capacity. This thing is cosplaying a pickup truck after all, so all depends on how you configure one of these Silverado EVs. Technically, it'll do up to 12,500. However, this model, 7,500 pounds with a payload of 1,000. What the hell? I have never seen a basket for a spare before. Temporary use only. It does have a steely for a wheelie. What? I thought that was snow. The original designer of the square body Chev is probably turning in his grave right now, knowing that there's a blankie stapled to the back of the wheel well of this thing. You could literally fit like 4 basketballs up inside here. That should be utilized as a storage compartment. Plastic toboggan to go with the fake snow. I'll shut up. As far as the rear differential goes, the Silverado EV is standard 4-wheel drive, has divorced independent integrated drive modules, one front and rear. And while it does not have a mechanical LSD like you'd find in a traditional pickup truck's rear axle, it does have torque vectoring capabilities via the robots. Out back, the Silverado EV utilizes a partially steel and aluminum independent rear suspension configuration with aluminum knuckles. That might quite possibly be the biggest coil spring I've ever seen on any vehicle in my entire life. It's paired with a set of proprietary General Motors rear dampers manufactured in Mexico. While this is not equipped with all-wheel steering, it is equipped with a rear tie rod to adjust your toe-in. Sad. Moving on forward. Hey, that's metal! Yeah, I thought it was gonna be stupid plastic or hairy cardboard. So there is like no seam sealer anywhere up inside that area. That's, sad. The 2026 Chevrolet Silverado EV is built on the BT1 platform, and this LT with max range battery, as seen above, weighs in at 8,464 pounds. Providing the electrical juices for the electric motors is the Ultium 20-module lithium-ion battery pack. It is 10 modules per layer, double-decker. It is an 800-volt system while charging 400 volts while operating, with a capacity of 205 kilowatt hours. And the battery itself weighs 2,900 pounds. Ease of maintenance on this front module is very much like the rear. You just drop the subframe, you just have steering to contend with up here. But the steering rack, which is electric power assists, mounts above the subframe right here. It's pretty easy to get to, and it's huge. As far as the transmissions go, it has 2 of them technically per se. As I previously mentioned, it has front and rear divorced electric motors, no drive shaft connecting the two like you'd have in a regular vehicle, and each one of those electric motors has an integrated drive module with a single speed reduction gear, meaning it has a 1-speed transmission essentially for both electric motors. Up front, it utilizes an all aluminum independent suspension configuration with aluminum knuckles. That's a huge ass bolt. Again, with a pair of those proprietary coilover strut assembly front dampers with a ton of camber on that. Look how raked in those are at the top. It's like a giant Honda Civic Type R the way they did that. Finally, I can measure something. Front anti-sway bar measures in at approximately 33 millimeter and change diameter. Another plastic skid plate up front and chin spoiler, made in Canada with imported parts materials, fought out Canada avec des pizzas. All right, time for the braking test. Nothing behind me. Ready, set, stop. Okay. Oh, I made some tires really sad on that one. It was kind of spongy, quite a bit of a dive to it, but it was soft, and the braking distance for the weight of the vehicle, I think is acceptable, because this is super heavy, so that Well, it's not too bad. Ooh, it smells like tires. That braking was just made possible in conjunction with regeneration from the electric motors thanks to a set of fairly large two-piston front calipers with a 355mm or 14-inch front rotor. The wheels on the LT model are a 22x9 die-cast alloy manufactured in China, wrapped in a set of two 75, 50, 22-inch Bridgestone Alenza tires. While the wheel is a die-cast alloy, these are plastic aero disc covers that are bolted to it. Inner fender liner, airy carpet. That little vent is actually functional, as is the ones in the bumper cover. Although it's highly popular right now, GM kind of pioneered the divorced headlight design, although this is a DRL and that is your bi-LED headlight. Speaking of bumper cover, behind the front grille, there are some active aero shutters that open and close. Front-facing cam. If it wasn't for the battery pack, this thing would have a ton more ground clearance, but that is all battery. Why they didn't make this the new Avalanche is beyond me. Out back, you go down to a single piston caliper, however, up to a 357mm or 14.1-inch rotor, and wheel and tire, same size as you have up front. The name of science is now time to give this thing the beans. Bolstering assessment. That doesn't have much bolstering. It's sticky, so you kind of stick to it. Because this is the LT model, the seats are finished in black leather with white zebra-like piping. Speaking of those seats, they are ventilated as well as heat-elated. The steering wheel is heated-elated. And it has the display at the top for the robot cruise control. As far as drive modes go, I can touch on the screen in front of me and I can select my mode, which you can configure. Steering, acceleration feel, motor sound, normal, off-road, which I wouldn't recommend since this one is equipped with 22-inch wheels and highway tires, and tow haul. I have a single flappy paddle where I can adjust my regeneration through the one pedal driving. Additionally, I have the WOW mode, which is like the WTF mode in the Hummer. It stands for wide open watts. It makes some spaceship sounds, and let's see what this thing can do. Ready? Go. Okay. Yep, that's a launch. Oh, tiny little bit of crab walk to it, shifty a little bit. Great torque. It's really sharp off the launch, but then it kind of starts to taper off as it picks up speed. It's quick though, it's fast. Poppins of Frunk. Robots. Wait, is there any way that I can show you the motor? Oh no, it's bolted down. All right, well, I did that. I guess there was no point to it, but there you go. Underneath the frunk plastic of this 2026 Chevrolet Silverado EV is one of two permanent magnet synchronous electric motors. Each motor is capable of producing at maximum of 380 horsepower and about 382.5 pound-feet of torque, giving you a total combined system output for the entire vehicle of 760 horsepower and 765 pound-feet of torque during the wide open watts mode. What the hell is this? This is kind of like a spare tire hold down, but all that just for the jack? So there you have it. There's a jack in here. Hey, there's cup holders in here and an outlet. Anyway, digging in a little bit deeper and is not possible because GM doesn't really publish much data on their electric stuff. A cutaway point for firefighters in case it gets out of control. Positive and negative. Oh, traditional 12 volt. Yeah, there we go. Washer fluid reservoir. They didn't give you an access door to the brake master cylinder. What's up with that? You will not know how to check your own brake fluid and be happy. Yeah, there it is. Brake master cylinder, and it looks like a coolant expansion chamber. I wish they'd just give you an access panel for that instead of, this is not, all right. So I just gotta pull on it. There you go. And beans, engage, jeez. All right, let's see how this almost 8,500 pound truck will do. All right. I was not expecting that. That actually took that corner relatively well. I mean, all the weight is down low, so even if it is a truck, the weight's still down low. I thought it was gonna be abysmal. It's for how heavy it is, it's not bad. This truck, while the 22-inch wheels, depending on your taste, look good, I don't think I could recommend them though. It creates for such a harsh ride because you're riding on rubber bands essentially on something that weighs 4 tons plus. You feel every vibration and crack and divot in the road and hear every crack, divot, and vibration in the road. I will say though, this is not a handling performance tire, it's an efficiency tire. And you can notice the weight on a bump on a corner. It's a little puckery, but puckery is character, and that can be fun. When you get a little bit off camber of a corner, it's definitely pucker inducing, but fun. It's kind of fun. Keeping it in the wow mode gives you some spaceship sounds while you're driving. That makes it fun. GM does this in a lot of their vehicles. They add a lot of character into them, and whether that character comes from excellence in some areas and also flaws in some areas, it's character nevertheless. And the Hummer is a great example of that. It does not make sense whatsoever, but it's neat that it exists, and it's hard to frown driving it. All right, I would not push this thing through corners. I mean, it's happy doing the speed limit on corners, but I think because of the weight, this is probably the same level of enjoyment a big rig driver gets taking a dump truck with a full load through some corners. That's what this is. If you're a truck driver and you're watching this right now and you like hauling through notches and windy roads with your big rig, you'd probably have a smile on your face driving this thing around some corners. Especially because it's got semi-truck-like torque too. Yep. It'll shove you in the seat. It doesn't continue to pull like a freight train though. It's got excellent off the line because it's electric, great 0 to 60 for its weight, but then it starts to just kind of braking. Ooh, braking mid corner is a experience. It's just physics kind of letting you know what's happening there. I want to try out my one pedal drive mode. Let's see, one pedal drive. Okay, I got one pedal drive engaged. It's on high. Make sure there's no one behind me. I'm gonna let off. Oh, that's a fair amount of braking right there. Oh, there goes all my stuff in my belly. You know what I appreciate about GM that they started doing is that's a butterfly. I got a camera and 2 buttons. Upper button, it's got a tailgate within a tailgate. It's tailgateception. Ta-da! First tailgate. Then there's a thing right here. Shapes. It's like a rumble seat for something. There. Steps. That right there is the best part about this entire vehicle. There's the Bose subwoofer. Haha! Look at that, that's amazing. So you can see if you were to remove the headrest or fold them down, you could get that nice and flat and you could put a ton of stuff back here. Whoa, it even has one of the like 240 volt 30 amp outlets. That's crazy. 2.4 kilowatt. That's an accurate statement. This adds a ton of usefulness to this truck. LED bed light. Why they did not make this an option for a solar powered cover is beyond me, because that would make a lot of sense. It's a lot of real estate. What the hell is this thing? Oh, the back window. Oh, you can take the window out completely. That makes so much more sense. You could put a lot of big stuff in here. While I've never met him, I'm pretty confident Shaq could sit in this back seat comfortably. The back seat on the SilvErado electric is borderline excessive. I mean, I am 5'11", and it's a football field away from me. This is supposed to be the LT, and it feels a little bit more WT. And it's very Tupperware-y. Rear seats are heated. Got some USB-Cs, AC power inverter, a place to stack your extra chimichangas. Has a ginormous glass roof, but like a lot of new cars, it doesn't have a robotic shade to slide over. It is tinted, but when did that become a fad? That needs to... It's got big heavy duty rubber mats in here. It'd be really easy to keep clean, but subsequently your stuff slides around back here all over the place while you're driving. Okay, Huh, interesting. Apparently that is an umbrella shape. One of the most infuriating things about a lot of new GM vehicles is the lack of headlight controls on a stalk or button. You have to do it inside the infotainment system, which you can't build up a muscle memory for that while you're driving. There's a little battery menu where you can set up your preconditioning. The Bose stereo system that's in here, it sounds good. It's not gonna win any awards, but by no means is it a bad sounding stereo. While this does have the ability to pair smartphones to it, it does not have the typical Apple CarPlay or Android Auto display. While you do have HVAC controls on the screen, there is thankfully some physical dials and upfitter switches down here to control them as well. Got some cup holders in the center that you can slide and stow out of the way, and there's a really deep cubby down here in the middle. There's a little Easter egg inside here of a first generation Chevy pickup and the SilvErado EV. There's a little pouch on the side of the transmission tunnel for some sunflower seeds. Just like out back, the interior up front is the dash, which is like a rubber-like material, has some white stitch on it, and there's a little shelf down here that would probably fit a smartphone. It's not a wireless charge pad though. The top of the dashboard's got some interesting shapes to it. Underneath this, more storage area, another charge point. Interesting, there is no sunglass holder. Got some trailer controls. The gauge cluster is full digital, and you can change how you want the display to look as well as view your navigation up here. Switching into off-road mode. I made the command decision early on to not do a full-on off-road review of this, as you are soon going to see why. It's 15 miles per hour on a dirt road. The best way I can describe this with the 22-inch wheels, which you don't have to get. I mean, you can get a much smaller 18-inch wheel and a meatier, chunkier truck-like tire. But this is the equivalency of taking a warehouse pallet jack across asphalt. Any of you who've ever done that before will instantly know what I'm talking about. That's how this thing feels off-road. It rides like a very heavy car. It feels like a piece of warehouse equipment more than it does a truck. I don't want to criticize it too much though, because they do have the optional Trail Boss model, which is a dedicated off-road model of a truck. So that's what you want if you're gonna do any off-roading. My critique though is the fact that if you were to take a regular internal combustion engine powered SilvErado that is not an off-road package and drive it down this road, it would be a world of a difference versus driving this on this dirt road, a non-off-road electric SilvErado. It's not really a truck. It doesn't have a truck design to it. It's kind of a car in essence. I mean, it has a double wishbone-like-ish independent suspension, but now to counter the negatives, which I just mentioned about this, the positives. The range is phenomenal on this truck. Fully charged, in theory, should be about almost 500 miles, which that is what we should see in an electric vehicle. That is an excellent amount of range. But there's a downside with it. You have to have an ample charging infrastructure of level 3 fast DC chargers nearby. I have not actually been able to charge this thing to 100% since I've had it because there is no charging infrastructure anywhere remotely near me. Even right now, with my battery being at 54%, it's showing 256 miles of range. That's a half a tank of gas, 250 miles. That's great, even if it was an internal combustion engine vehicle. So, excellent. Now, pricing wise, this thing is just shy of $100,000. And it does not feel like a $100,000 vehicle in here. And you can hear, mainly because it's on 22-inch wheels, but even on the highway, it's not the most quiet vehicle on the inside. Now, I don't want to make it seem like it's all doom and gloom with this truck, because I feel there is a certain type of customer out there for this vehicle where it would be phenomenal for them in a lot of areas. Pricing wise, that's debatable, but the actual piece of machinery, I feel excels in a lot of areas, especially for commercial use or tradespeople that want onboard power, has excellent range, and at a $50,000 price point for the WT model, all day long if it had this kind of range. It is now time to give this Not an Avalanche some scores, starting with the bean score, the assessment of feeling you get in your gut when you hear the beans. And it's getting a rating of Followed by the cookie score, assessment of value. And as this one is equipped at just a hair under $100,000, it gets a rating of. Next is the toaster score, the negative assessment on how much of a disposable appliance a vehicle is. And this gets a rating of. Next is the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and it gets a rating of. Next is the squid score, assessment of handling, and it gets a rating of. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the SilvErado EV LT gets a rating of. The WT version with Steelies makes sense for fleet use, for tradesmen that need onboard power supply to run tools. But the cost and the depreciation of EVs in general. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon with another. Bye. This video is sponsored by me and my very own detailing product line, RoboBubble, made in the USA. This car got some sap on it from being parked under a tree. We're getting into sap season, and as you can see, got some mesquite sap on the back glass of this DRZ. So I'm gonna use some of my bug and tar remover. Let that sit for a sec. Kind of, man, that tree really just puked all over the glass. Use generous amounts of the product. Just kind of blot it. You don't want to rub hard. It's not that type of a situation. Just the objective is to dissolve the sap, not try to rub it off. Pretty much destroyed this microfiber, but rather that than be on the car. Use some of my glass cleaner, which I'm almost out of because I actually use my own stuff. And go over that area, remove the residue from the and the sap. Saturate, let it kind of soak for a sec, then blot it, and the sap is gone. Now I'm going to follow up with my quickie. This will actually protect the paint because it is a quick wax. Go over the areas, remove the residue from the There, just like that, nice and clean. Subaru, I'll send you my invoice. Shit works good, right?
Shit works good.